right, come to the next event. We're going to have one next month. Go to benmallahs.com, watch the video, hit the like button, do something, goddammit.
What's going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again with another video. And this weekend, I am going to meet up with Mr. Ben Mallahs. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's an amazing dude, older dude, probably in his 50s or 60s, who actually built his real estate business to multi-9 figures. I mean, this guy does not play around, and he is somebody to absolutely respect in the real estate niche. And he actually built his wealth by starting very small, I believe out of Bronx, New York, and he has an amazing life story. Started from nothing, basically built his way up, you know, doing small flips and small multifamily, working his way up to bigger multifamily and 1031 exchanging into bigger ones and bigger ones and bigger ones and bigger ones, to now selling over $100 million worth of real estate on his most recent transaction, which you can see on his YouTube channel. And he's been generous enough to be documenting his journey and a lot of the different things that he's done on his YouTube channel. And of course, I've indulged myself in the entertainment and education of watching Ben and how he does deals and how he thinks and just analyzing his mindset and what he all does, because this dude is an incredible guy, and anybody that comes from nothing and generates multi-9 figures for them and their family is honestly an inspiration to me. And the fact that I'm even going to be able to put myself in front of him and hear his story and hear his strategies this weekend is super exciting, and I'm super grateful that I'm even able to do that, because where I'm from, people like him don't exist. They're ghosts. People that make it to that level, quite frankly, nobody makes it to that level where I'm from. We could just say that. But apparently he's from worse, and he still made it to that level. So he's kind of like a hero in my eyes, because he really shows you what's possible if you actually stay consistent for, you know, decades and decades, and actually see, you know, how money compounds over time and how each decision you make now compounds over 10, 20, 30 years. So real estate is a big side business for me, and honestly, eventually I want to make it one of my main businesses and main income sources. So learning from people like Ben is going to be a major part of my journey in, you know, actually making sure that I make the right decisions on my way. Now, I'm no real estate mogul myself, but I do have 4 multifamily properties right now, totaling to about 14 units. And I actually purchased a one-on-one consulting session with Ben himself. So we're actually going to sit down and talk about my portfolio and what I should do to make the most money with my current scenario. So I'm super duper excited to actually sit down with the man himself. And I actually did it last year before, which there's a picture of me and him right there. And I actually did exactly what he told me to do, and it ended up working out really, really well. He basically told me to refinance my house and go buy another multifamily, which I did exactly that. And now that multifamily is cash flowing way more than what it costed to refinance the house. So, you know, big props to him, and he consistently just gives good advice over and over again. This will actually be my 3rd time talking to him. Back in 2019, I did a phone call with him, and he recorded the whole thing and posted it on his YouTube channel, and it got over 180,000 views, and I got roasted to hell in the comment section. You know, people were thinking that I was lying and talking all this shit just to mess with Ben or whatever, but I'm super excited. This is my 3rd time meeting with him, and honestly, every chance I get to meet with this dude, I'm going to take, no matter the cost, no matter if I have to get on a flight to go here or book a hotel here, whatever it is. Anytime I can put myself in front of Ben or literally anybody of that stature, I'm going to, because I understand that you are the average of the people you surround yourself with, and the more you can surround yourself around, you know, that level of people, the closer you get to that level. So super appreciative of Ben. I'm also taking a really good friend of mine and an absolute badass with real estate with me. His name is Marco Epifani, and he's actually been one of my #1 mentors with buying real estate and how to actually do this stuff. And I've seen this dude literally become a millionaire in front of my eyes. I met him 3 to 4 years ago, and I've seen this dude build up a really large net worth basically by wholesaling real estate, flipping real estate. Like, I think he's, you know, done some crazy shit, like made over 6 figures on a single flip, and he's flipped over 60 units, which is absolutely insane, through single families and these other things. So I'm actually inviting him on this trip with me. We'll be staying in the same room, and I'm not sure if he also got a one-on-one session with Ben, but I know it's going to be a really good time, and I'm probably going to introduce Marco in this video too, and kind of let him tell his story, and maybe give you guys some value as well if that's what we end up talking about. So hopefully going to interview him, and I'm also going to be sharing with you exactly what I learned out of this event and exactly what Ben Mallahs tells me to do during our one-on-one consulting session. So stay tuned for this video. I'm obviously going to be documenting the trip as much as I can, but most of it's probably just going to be me sitting here in front of the camera, talking to my future self as a reminder of this time when I got to go and sit down with a dude who's worth $300+ million. So stay tuned for the ride. I'm getting on my flight tomorrow, straight to Fort Lauderdale. Hopefully gonna meet some great people other than Ben as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for now, but I hope this video is valuable to you. And if you want to get into real estate, then definitely go to Ben Mallahs' next event, because these events have been incredible so far. The first one was last year. This is the second one. I'm fully expecting it to be much better, more people, you know, whatever. But yeah, definitely head over to benmallah.com and get your tickets for next year's event if they're up now. But yeah, let's get right into the video. All right, guys, I just arrived at the hotel about 2 hours ago. I'm here with Marco right now. This is the guy that we're actually gonna be talking to later on in the video, but we'll save that for later when we're actually sitting down and talking, because right now we're about to go hit the event. We just ate dinner. I don't think I'm gonna film in the event because it's probably not allowed and I don't want to be that guy, but I will be taking notes, and I might hop in here and go over all the notes that I take. So definitely stay tuned for that part. I'm gonna go enjoy this event, probably have some drinks at the bar afterwards and try to network with people. And tomorrow they're doing another event with another speech, and I'll also be doing my one-on-one session with Ben, so I'm pretty excited for that too. See you guys in a bit. What's going on, guys? I am back home now, so I'm just gonna hop in here and share with you the notes that I took during this event. Now, the event was really valuable. I would say that if you're just starting out in real estate, or if you have a lot of experience, if you're just starting out, it's going to give you basically all of the basics that you need and the confidence that you need to go out there and start looking for deals and have a good idea of how to run the numbers on them, finance them, and all these different factors that go into actually buying and managing real estate. But what I would also say is that if you are someone with a lot of experience, this event really serves as a really good reminder of all the nitty-gritty things that you may forget about on your day-to-day. And this isn't 100% what it did for me, because I'm still learning and I only have 14 units in 4 buildings in my portfolio, so I'm still kind of making the beginner mistakes. This event not only served as a reminder of all of the fundamentals and things that you should know as a beginner, but it also taught me some really great, amazing things that I will 100% be using on the next deals that I purchase to make a lot of money. So I'm gonna run you through some of the notes that I personally took and the notes of the things that I personally found value, but I will say that the PowerPoint slides that they went through during the event are actually available on benmallah.com. So if you go to the benmallah.com and then go over to the real estate help or something, there's a tab on their navigation. You can see the PowerPoint slide that they actually use at the event and get pretty much all the value yourself. I will say that it's much better to hear all of these things coming out of Ben and Ben Jr.'s mouth themselves, because they add stories and they add context, but you can still get a good idea if you aren't able to make it to the event. Now, the first thing that they touched on at the event, which they normally do at every event, is mindset. And the thing that I took away from this the most is that making money should be the #1 priority in your life. Now, I know that this is a little bit controversial because a lot of people like to have balance between work, money, and health and happiness and all these other things, but Ben just said it straight up. In my family, money is my #1 priority, and it's also the priority of everybody in the family. If you don't know, Ben runs a very family-operated business. His wife, his kids, you know, everybody's working for him and working on this mission of building wealth and security for their future, which is really beautiful and awesome to see on its own. Hearing him and his son talk about how important money was inside of their culture, inside of their family, was really crazy to me, because for the family that I came from, money wasn't really discussed, you know, and when it wasn't good stuff. Like, it was like being late on bills, or somebody overcharging you for something, or, oh my God, $20 for a cheeseburger. And the way that they talked about it, you know, the way that they family talked about it was, you know, this is money, we need this to survive, and basically everything else comes after this. As long as we have this, we can focus on other things, but you know, we gotta stay focused on this one thing over here, which was really cool to hear. And you know, it really hits hard because everybody's trying to balance everything when he just said it straight up. So that really meant a lot to me. And I think part of the reason that Ben is so stern, and the reason he raised his family and is training his culture to be like this, is because he's probably seen the worst of the worst in terms of financial situations. You know, knowing where he's came from, he probably knows that the pain of having no money is much greater of the pain of constantly be worrying about making money. So even if you have to sacrifice some happiness or fun time today for the ability to have more money tomorrow, it's still a lot less painful than having no money at all. And I think he truly understands this, and I think it's a great reminder, and it also gave me permission to be like, hey Noah, it's okay to be worried about money all the time, because you're not where you want to be, and once you get to where you want to be, of course you're going to be able to enjoy life and, you know, focus on your happiness. And I've already focused on my health quite a bit. I'm down like 80 pounds since I started doing that, so that's been a great journey. But again, when I started focusing on my health, you know, the money started slowing down, and I kind of had to kick back into gear on the business. So I understand where he's coming from when he says that money comes first. The next thing that he talked about was how you should always be looking for deals, and when you find a good deal, you should always be buying deals. Now, this is obviously difficult to do and understand if you don't have a lot of money or if you're just getting started in real estate, but it is 100% something that I needed to hear, because I'm somebody that, you know, will save up $100,000 and then just go put it down on a property, and save up $100,000 and put it down. So usually there's a time period in between those where I'm not looking at deals, I'm not talking to lenders, I'm not, you know, running numbers on deals, I'm not actively looking for deals in the market. And he did mention that the best deals come up when you're not ready for them. So it's smart to start looking at, you know, deals every single day and actually being really consistent with it. And then when you do find a deal, like let's say you found a deal and you didn't have the money to come up with it, there's a million different ways to actually get money. You know, anything from, you know, your active income, pulling from your current equities. Like I have a lot of equity sitting in my current investments, which we'll talk about a little bit later, because that's what I talked with Ben one-on-one about, that I could actually pull from in order to buy new deals when they come up. You could do private lending, banks, creative financing, like working with the sellers to finance it through them. Lots of ways. You should always be looking for deals, and you should always be ready to buy one. The next one is 100% something that I needed to hear, and he basically said that there's a million different ways to find properties to actually buy, or there's a million ways to find deals. And the reason I need to hear this is because the only real ways that I use to look at properties is the MLS and Zillow. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really indulge in off-market, cold calling, any other websites besides the MLS and Zillow to actually look at deals that are out there. And he just brought me a friendly reminder that there's like a million ways to find deals, whether it's working with brokers, similar sites to Zillow. Like there's many different Zillows out there. Obviously Zillow being one of the biggest ones. There's a lot of smaller ones that also have deals on them. So this was just a good reminder that even though it may seem like there's nothing on the market, you can go as far as cold calling and, you know, sending out email blasts or cold texting. You know, like there's so many different ways to actually create deals out of thin air, even when there's not many on the market. The next thing that really hit home for me was to trust nobody and verify everything. Now, this is obviously a broad statement, but essentially what it means is he's saying that when you're buying a real estate deal, you need to verify absolutely everything, because an agent can be like, oh yeah, the leases are $1,200 a month, and if you don't actually go in and check the leases, you know, they could be at $700 a month, or it could be just a verbal lease and nobody really knows what the rent is. He just pays it when he feels like it. So always verify everything, you know, from inspections to paperwork like title and all these different things, you know, zoning, what permits have they pulled, all these different nitty-gritty information. Honestly, once you buy a few real estate deals, there is a level of comfort that comes with doing that. Like when you're buying your first one, like I remember my first one, I was scared shitless and I verified everything, and I still forgot something and got screwed over on one little thing. One of the tenants was Section 8 and I didn't know about it. But after buying, you know, my second deal, my third deal, my fourth deal, now I just kind of look at a property and I'm just like, fuck it, it's a good deal, let's submit an offer and just go through and buy it. And I'm not gonna lie, the last building that I bought, it was a 5-unit, the biggest unit building that I bought so far. I was not as diligent with that one as I should have been. I'm ashamed to admit it, but that's why I needed to hear this advice, and I'm grateful that I went to the event so that I could hear this at this time. Stop being complacent, verify everything. The last thing that was really, really valuable for me to hear was there are a lot of ways to actually add value to a property. And what I mean by adding value is, you know, not just renovations, but also increasing income, decreasing expenses, and one of the creative ways that he talks about, you know, lowering your potential cap rates and things like this, adding amenities, just overall making it a nicer place to live. And the reason this is so powerful and something that I needed to hear at this very moment is because I'm about to make the transition from investing in small 2 to 5 unit multifamily properties, and I'm going to be buying a 10-unit building sometime in the next 6 months to a year and doing a value add, which is essentially where you increase the profit that you get or increase the NOI of the property, and then hopefully refinance or sell it at a higher price point later on because you added added value, you added income, you made it nicer, those types of things. So this was awesome to hear about, especially from Ben, because this is literally what he specializes in doing: buying large multifamily and then increasing the value through increasing the profit, decreasing the expenses, basically getting a better cap rate than when he bought it at. There's many different ways to do it, and it was really, really cool hearing him talk about all these different ways. Now, I will admit, I did only go for one day of the event. The event was Saturday and Sunday, and I'm not 100% sure if it was a part one and a part two, or if they talked about the same thing on both days. But to be honest, I was meeting with a friend for the first time in Florida, and we really, really wanted to hit the beach. And it was hard to find time to go to the event and hit the beach, and we didn't make it back in time. So I basically missed day two of the event, and I'm assuming that it was a part one and a part two. So I think I missed the part two of the event. But I basically went on the benmallahs.com website and I read the slides, and honestly, I kind of wish that I went. But at the same time, like I said, first time in Florida with my boy, we wanted to go to the beach, and that's okay. But we made it back in time for our one-on-one session, which I'll be talking about here in a minute. But overall review of the event, at least the one day that I went, it was amazing. Like, hearing Ben and his son and his other family members bicker and tell stories on the stage was awesome. I mean, this is somebody who is worth multiple nine figures, who came from nothing, who built a big ass business, and honestly built an amazing family to go along with it. A family of employees, kids, you know, just the way that he operates his whole life is really amazing to see. And he's a super funny guy. Like, his sense of humor is insanely high. So not only do you learn all these amazing things and get all these great reminders of things that you should be doing that you probably shouldn't, but you're also getting to hang out with this amazing dude, and honestly, he makes the crowd laugh like every 30 seconds when he's speaking, so you can get a better idea of the type of energy that was in the room. It was simply amazing. I would highly recommend that you go to the next event. I think it's going to be on October 10th of 2023, so book your calendars. I don't know when they're going to start selling tickets, but definitely make sure that you head there, and if you do go there, hit me up on Instagram at Noah D. Brewer and let me know when you're there and who you are so that we can meet up and shake hands. All right, so now what are you fucking laughing at?
I don't know, I'm just smiling.
All right, so now that we went through all the notes from the event, I figured I would introduce my good friend and real estate investor, Marco, because I invited him on this trip, and I know that he's providing a shitload of value on his Instagram and YouTube right now, and he's also been a major, major help with my real estate journey, buying my deals, and yeah, so introduce yourself, Marco. What do you do? And
hey guys, so my name is Marco. I've been in real estate for about 4 years. I'm a real estate broker, but I'm also an investor, and that's where I make most of my money. And now that I've invested and I flipped over 50 houses and I sold millions of dollars worth of real estate, I'm trying to dive in a little bit more in the social media world and try to get my name a little bit more out there.
Yep. And how many flips have you done, would you say?
So I probably flipped over 30 properties, which ended up being, like, at this point, I think we're at 60 units, 70 units flipped.
Yep, definitely fucking crazy. Like, I remember back when we first started hanging out, you know, you were kind of an agent and you were doing, you know, small investments here and there, and then you helped me buy my first deal, and then I moved to Arizona and kind of left for like 6 months because he's in Connecticut. So when I came back, like when I left, you were doing like 1 or 2 flips. Yep. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna come back and they're gonna be doing some more flips. They were doing how many flips at one time? Like 14?
Yeah, I think the most we did was like 4. Well, we bought that 28 unit. That was a big deal.
Yep.
And then most of the deals were like single family and multifamily. Right now we have 7 active flips and 3 new construction projects that we're working on. So like 10 deals at once.
I mean, I just remember, like, I've seen you become incredibly successful in real estate over the past few years, and it's super dope because I know there's a ton of people in my audience, even though a lot of them are e-com based, who just want success in general, and they see real estate as more of like a longer term thing that they can get into. But how'd you like the event so far? Like, you learn anything?
You know, the event was a great reminding session. If anybody was a little bit newer into the real estate game, I would highly, highly recommend it because Ben was spitting a ton of value in the event.
Yep.
For me, it was a good reminder because some of the stuff Ben talked about, like, you always got to be prospecting. I know me, Noah, I would find like a few flips and then I'd be like, oh, I can chill for a little bit. But when you hear somebody like Ben who's got millions and millions of dollars who like doesn't stop prospecting, even though he's been, it was a really good reminding session, very motivating for sure.
Yeah, and since you went to this event and kind of heard from Ben, like, obviously he's worth like $300 to $500 million, fucking crazy. What are some of the goals and some of the things you're going to try to accomplish like over the next year or two? Because you always think big as hell, like way bigger than I think.
So right now I'm working on a few things. First, I want to get my social medias up, my Instagram, my TikTok. I'm going to be working on YouTube and Facebook as well.
I'll put his Instagram like right here, and there'll be a link to his YouTube channel in the description.
Make sure you go follow it. But yeah, so I definitely want to get my name and my brand out a little bit more, but I also want to go a little bit heavier on the real estate. So in the next 2 to 3 years, I think what I'm going to be doing is developing multifamily housing from the ground up. And then I think I'm going to be selling those properties or refinancing those properties or getting my cash back however I can. And then from there, I think I'm going to start buying big commercial real estate deals. And that's it.
Yep, and we actually met a dude that was doing that. He built up a portfolio of like $100 million. Literally, what was he doing? He was like building duplexes and then 1031 exchanging them into larger multifamilies.
Yeah, that was a great strategy. He was building these duplexes, renting them out for a year, because if you build a place and you sell it, you can't 1031 it. And then he was getting all this money that he had to park somewhere and putting 1031 exchanges into big retail places, which I thought was a pretty cool strategy.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, and the networking here has been great. Like, I think I met 3 people. Like, I'm the type of guy where like I'd rather meet somebody cool and then have like a good conversation with them as opposed to just shaking hands and exchanging contacts. But so I only met about 3 people last night, but the people I met were fucking great. One of them was like pushing amazing numbers. Another one was doing like 30K a month in cash flow, actually like in our area somewhat. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, if you guys are wanting to come to this event, for sure do it. Like next year I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna come here every year that they do it for sure. And probably keep on buying the in-person mentoring with Ben, which by the way, we're about to do. So I think it's in like, let's see, I'm doing it in an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm gonna try to bring my camera in there and film it, but I don't know if he's gonna allow it. And also I don't know if the advice he's gonna give me is really gonna be valuable to you because it's pretty specific to my situation, but we'll see what happens. If anything, I'll tell you what he tells me. But yeah, go give Marco a follow and stick to the end of this video if you want to hear kind of like what I learned from Ben's one-on-one session, because that'll be really, really valuable. All right, so I'm back again, and this time I'm going to be talking about my actual one-on-one coaching session with Ben. Was it worth it? What kind of things did we talk about? What advice did he give me specifically? I'm not going to drop too much sauce because I know, Rafal, if you're watching this, I know you didn't want me to record the call because you want to keep the sauce for the people that actually invest in themselves, which by the way, if you go to the event, get the fucking one-on-ones. Like, don't just show up to the event and watch the episodes. If you can't afford it, fine, that's fine. But if you can afford it, 100% do it, because he's gonna be able to give you amazing advice specific for your situation and tell you exactly how you can get one more step to being where you wanna be. And that's no joke. I'll tell you a little bit about the advice that he gave me, obviously leaving out the specifics. So basically, I went into this 30-minute meeting with one question, and my one question was, what is my next move? Looking at my current portfolio and my current cash, what is the best thing that I can do to maximize my next move? And I use the same formula to determine what's best in my businesses and my clients and all these different things. So I know that this is the question that needs answering pretty much at all times. Like, what should I do next? So this is the question that I went in asking him. So I laid out my portfolio, all my properties, what my equity positions were, like how much equity I had in each deal, what the cash flow was of each deal. And he really just looked at it, broke it down, and he showed me a way that I could pull a ton of money out of my current portfolio. I'm not gonna lie, I already knew that I could do this. I just wasn't sure if it was the best thing to do at the time. But of course, he said that I should pull as much money as possible out of everything that I currently own and then go and put it into the market. He also said that right now is a great time to be cash heavy. So I'm gonna do that through selling 2 of my assets, and I'm going to be doing a portfolio refinance on 2 other assets that will allow me to collect enough money to go out and put $250,000 to $350,000 down on a big deal. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I really want to get into 10+ unit multifamily and do some value adds. So that's pretty much what I got out of it, and I would say that it's 100% worth it. Even though I knew that this was an option and it was probably a good idea for me to do this, it was really, really great and kind of reaffirming that this was a good thing to do. And hearing that, you know, verification from Ben where he's just like, thumbs up, this is a great thing to do, was honestly worth every penny that I spent and every hour that I spent getting to Florida, attending the event, and just showing up. And to make things more fun, he actually let my good friend and current real estate mentor in the room as well, so that we could all kind of talk together about the best plans for me moving forward, which was really, really cool. And I know that Marco appreciated that a lot as well. So yeah, that was my trip to Ben Mallahs' event. You know, basically everything that I learned, everything that I took away. If I would say, are you asking if you should go to this event next year? You already know the answer. It was incredibly valuable, and you can go watch this dude on YouTube. He's insanely entertaining and he's insanely successful, at least from my standards. He's done everything that I want to do in life, and he can give you the guidance that you need to get to where you need to go. Going to this event was worth it on its own, but never mind the connections that you can make at the bar afterwards, just hanging out with people and doing things and having a good time. So I hope this video helped you make your decision on whether or not you want to go to these events, or I hope it was just valuable to you as a fellow real estate investor or somebody who wants to get into real estate in the future. Real estate is definitely an intimidating subject for a lot of people, but thanks to people like Big Ben over here, he makes it a lot less intimidating and a lot more realistic for normal people like us to actually come in, buy real estate, and start building our wealth seriously for the future. As for this video, that's pretty much it. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace. I don't normally smoke cigarettes, but when I'm with Ben,
All right, come to the next event. We're gonna have one next month. Go to benmallahs.com, watch the video, hit the like button, do something, goddammit.
all right guys, see you later.